Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Leaders Being Heard, dedicated to business analysis. So today we have a special event. It's almost semi-live, so we are not going to edit it this one. So today with you I'm your host Marius, and with me is Andra and Christina. Welcome, Andra. Welcome, Christina. How are you?
Hi.
Good. Nice to have you here, Andra, and nice to have you here, Christina. So today's topic is, how do we prepare for a meeting? How do we prepare for whatever meeting we are having in our business domain? Let's put it like this. So why do you think it's important to prepare for a meeting? Because sometimes might not be we might have a meeting with a friend, so we don't have to prepare for that one, right? So, but in a business context, perhaps we do. So, the first question to you, ladies, why do we need to prepare for a meeting? Who wants to go? You
I
can
can
go.
go first.
Go, Christina. Thank you.
I can go first. So at first, I mean, the first idea that comes to my mind is if I have an agenda and I know the audience and they know they have a meeting, we have a meeting in the calendar, that should be enough, right? This is what the books say. Okay. But what happens actually is that even if I send an agenda and of course all the people are informed about the meeting, however, at the end, I may end up very unhappy with the result. So if we look from the end part of the meeting, if I'm unhappy about what happened in the meeting, then I need to question what happened. And this led to this idea that it's not only about what happens during the meeting, but it's very much about how we enter the meeting. How do we prepare for it? And what do we prepare for it? Besides the agenda and the known people. And I think this is something that I would like to discuss with you, and share some insights, share some idea, because even if we do meetings all the time, I would ask the audience, how many times are you happy with the results, and how many times you are frustrated?
Yeah, so we all been in meetings where we fell asleep, or we're at the end not happy with the results, or annoyed, or we have this impression that we have too many meetings. So if you are experiencing this, perhaps you should listen to us next. So, Andra, what are the main points when you prepare for a meeting? Can you give us an insight?
First, I want to add to what Christina said. Yeah, when you're unhappy with the meeting and why actually prepare for a meeting. Yeah, she was nice. She said unhappy, but actually you might be really frustrated afterwards. And especially when you have the interest for the meeting and the others are not that like it's not their topic. They are just coming because you invited them. Yeah, so it's useful to prepare so you know what are the requests that you make before the meeting to them, so they can also prepare. Yeah, it's one of the. So there are a few things for you to be clear on what are your expectations, and also to be flexible and not attached of the outcome. Yeah, we work with people, so they are unpredictable and sometimes does not go exactly as we plan. But I think the satisfaction comes from the fact that, okay, I prepared, I've made the request, I've done all my best, I took the time, and that's it. Yeah.
So what you're saying, one of the most important aspects in preparing for a meeting is to not be, let's say, not make the request to the people, right? As the person that you generate in the meeting, and also in the end not be very much, let's say, attached to the results, right? Because sometimes the meeting might end up in another direction. right?
Yeah, so it might be that you have a deadline and you need, Christina was saying earlier, an example. You have a deadline and you need input from many people, yes? So, and you say, oh my God, I need to do it by tomorrow. So this meeting, I need to get out of it with some, yeah? And in that moment, you become attached because you have a deadline, yeah? And you say, I really need this. There is no other way. But actually, if it does not happen, is to, when I say is to be flexible, okay, maybe you did not get everything in that meeting, but then you can look, okay, maybe I can create another meeting. I can take one person, some key persons, and you find a solution to make it and to have the deadline, yeah, without all the frustration and oh my God, yeah. And sometimes maybe you cannot get those people. That is why I say it's a lot of flexibility. There are
So-
many ifs, yeah.
Thank you. So Christina, this is the question for you. So when we prepare for a meeting, you said like the agenda, right? You prepare an agenda, but what is in that agenda, right? What do you put and how do you create an agenda for a meeting?
I think creating the agenda is one of the easiest steps because it's, as Andra was saying, it is something that I need to get, and maybe this is clear, or it should be clear to me what I want to write in the agenda.
Mhm.
But the next step, I mean, the agenda should be very tightly related to the outcome. Yeah, what do we want to get it at the end? Then this should be stated clearly in the agenda. But then it comes the more difficult part. How do I engage the audience to participate into that agenda? And I come to what Andra said earlier, that how do I engage the people to prepare before the meeting? And
Mhm.
I think it's another topic. How do we keep them engaged during the meeting?
Mhm.
But for the sake of our conversation today, before the meeting, it means that those people need to work alone for that meeting. And this is something that I think it's powerful, and it's not that easy to get. Because let's take an example. So I get into a meeting where I have an interest to get information about something that impacts the product I work for. Yeah. But the people coming, they own the other products, and they have their main interest is in their product, not in mine.
Mhm.
Even though we need to collaborate together to achieve a bigger goal, still in the meeting that I call for is something that I want to get what are, I don't know, communication coming in out with the other products, but it is for me. And even though I would set the agenda and I say we need to define the inputs and the outputs, that may be very clear. But the question is, how do I engage those people to come prepared so that I have those inputs and outputs defined at the end of the meeting? This is a challenge. This I see as a challenge.
So
And
what I see in what you are sharing is that before the meeting, you don't just create an agenda and send the agenda. In a way, you make sure that people are already engaged with your agenda and they will come prepared to that meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do
And-
you go ahead, sorry, Andra.
Yeah, it's more of the request that you request them, look, I need this for you. You probably will need to go to each of the people involved and to say, look, I sent the agenda and I need this input from you. Can you prepare it for the time of the meeting?
Mhm.
As sometimes they may say no, sometimes they say yes. And when they say no, you can say, okay, I really need this. Maybe you can take 5 minutes before the meeting. I get that you're busy. Yeah.
Mhm.
So how can we make it work? So you take at least 5 minutes to look at this. Yeah. And then if somebody, this is the no, to enroll that actually it won't work, the meeting, if the person does not come prepared. Maybe you
Okay.
change the date for the meeting. And then if they say, yes, I will prepare, then is, okay, may I check in with you? Like to make sure, because people sometimes say and then they don't schedule it. And then you can manage that and you can say, okay, can I check in with you to make sure that you have prepared the day before. It's a lot of flexibility. You know the people, and if you need to manage that. But as you have the interest, you are responsible that people come prepared. Yeah, it's so easy to say, I told him once, and then they did not came prepared for the meeting, even though I told them. What can I do about it? Well, what you
No,
can do about it is ask again and again until you make sure that everybody, yeah, that is what-
okay. And how do you measure the success of a meeting? I mean, you have the objectives, this is clear, but at the end, how do you measure actually when you look retrospectively at the meeting? How do you measure that success? Because now we are having this conversation because at the end we are thinking, well, the experience of this meeting was not great, right? I did not achieve what I want. Is it clear the outcome, and do you need to acknowledge at the end of the meeting if it was a success or not, or you need another meeting, or you need another actions? How do you proceed? How do you see it?
I want to ask to answer
All
this
right,
one.
go ahead, Christina.
So definitely looking towards not only at the end of the meeting, but maybe throughout the meeting, depending on how long it is, to check whether the conversation goes according to agenda. That's one thing, and of course, acknowledging in the end we met our objectives or the agenda or not. But coming back to how we prepare to see if we checked the agenda, I think this triggered me to think about how clear do we set the agenda? I mean, do people understand what we want to say by those lines, which usually they are short?
Mhm.
And it's okay to be short. I mean, I don't preach for long, long lines.
Nobody
in
will
agenda.
read it.
Of course, yeah. But how clear it is, and do we speak the stakeholders' language when we set the agenda? For example, if I use, let's discuss the incoming flows. When I say incoming flow, are you sure that you, Andra, and you, Marius, and me, do
I
we
don't know what
understand
you
the
mean.
same thing? Exactly, you don't know, exactly. But to me, if I'm thinking of something, yeah? So how clear do we set the agenda when we write it so that people know, or am I expecting I don't know, a diagram, a use case where we discuss between stakeholders, or am I expecting to, when I speak about incoming information, I speak about a data model, or I speak about
Mhm.
something of very well structured data structure? So this is one aspect that is again important to come prepared, like to make sure that the people understand what you want. It's not
Mhm.
only their commitment to prepare, but it's also they may come prepared but with something else, and that's not okay as well.
Okay. And how long does it? I mean, you go to a meeting, right? Now we discuss the success of a meeting, and now we're discuss. I'm also interested in the parameters of a meeting, right? Like, is it good to have a meeting with longer than 30, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour and a half? How many topics? Do you touch more topics than one? You have more objectives? How is there? Because talking from the experience here, right? Longer meetings tend to be exhausting, right? Meetings with many participants, 10, 20 participants, are more informative than productive, right? So what is your view on that? Is it better to, is it there a recipe, or you should pay attention to what exactly?
So there is not a single answer to this question.
Of
It
course.
really depends on the on the meeting. If it's a brainstorming, yeah, you may take 2 hours. If you do it in half an hour, you may not get anything. Yeah.
Okay.
So then people are properly set up that this is a brainstorming and we are going to stay there for 2 hours. So grab your coffee, whatever you need. Yeah. And so then it's a longer one. And then, as you said, maybe if it's with the client, yeah, then you know that the client needs 1 hour and then you've lost them. Yeah. They are
Mhm.
not present anymore. So really it depends on the topic and what is that you need. When you said multiple topics, well, if they are small and you only need an input or you want to inform somebody, yes, you can have multiple topics. So it's actually to learn, it's for you to learn how much you need in a meeting. Like if it's a half an hour, to learn to estimate and to track time. Yeah. If you say, I will do it half an hour and I will touch these 2 subjects, it's actually keep the time, have somebody keep the time or you do it. And you can be clear from the beginning. We are here to discuss this, so it's clear for everybody if they have not read the agenda. Yes. So we are here to discuss this topic and this topic. Yeah. So we are going to take the first 15 minutes to discuss this and the next 15 minutes to discuss the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when it deviates, it's actually for you to go back. Look, guys, it depends on the situation. It's being flexible. Sometimes you can let it go if you see it's useful. Sometimes you bring them back and you say, it's a great idea or whatever it is that is discussed. Let's schedule another time for it. And let's go back to this. Like, I really need this by tonight. So I want us to focus on this. Yeah. So they know I'm open to discuss the subject, not here. It's not the topic. It's not the, yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. So now that you touched this point, right, with the timekeeper, so far we discussed how do we prepare for a meeting and how do we evaluate it. So now let's see, the meeting comes, right? So all the people are there and you are there running the meeting. What do you need to be really, what do you need to focus on, right? You mentioned, Andrea, you mentioned a timekeeper. So now the question, do you always need a timekeeper who's doing the timekeeping? Why is it important to have the time management on the meeting, right? Christina, what do you think about this?
Of course, time management is super important. I mean, you can't do without it. But I'm just trying to set it in the open or flexible perspective that Tantra was mentioning earlier. Like, okay, I plan for 1 topic or 2 topics or 3 topics, I don't know. But the point is, if we are there to create something, if we are there to build something which is not very clear, we really need that flexibility to, and maybe to negotiate between what is more important. Is it more important the time and that we cover all topics? However, we need another meeting to continue them because we haven't finished. Or we need to cut. I said, okay, I entered with 3 topics. We only can do 1. And this is what we decide.
Are you deciding this during the meeting or who's deciding? You?
I think we decide during the meeting. Of course, before the meeting, it would be good to be able to estimate. But again, we are humans, and that's an estimation, right? It can happen to not be to not make it in that time. And of course, you have the option to arrange another meeting. But for this, from this perspective, when we think about how we prepare for the meeting, I think that's also important. How many topics do we want to cover? Is that really possible? Or maybe we want to go with divide et impera. I mean, or if we have a bigger topic and we know it's big and we don't know where to start with it, right? Either we start the topic and we know we will not finish. However, we should set a goal for the meeting. Otherwise, don't set the meeting. I mean, okay. I mean, this should be a must. But if it's possible, divide timpera. I mean, break it into pieces. I don't know, maybe just to go with the bigger picture, make sure that everybody is aligned on the bigger picture, slice it, and discuss the slices and come back and see if the slices really cover the big picture. I mean, have an approach before the
Okay.
meeting.
So what I'm seeing is more or less be realistic, more or less, about what you want to achieve in that meeting. First of all, be flexible. This is what I heard as well, right? But also be flexible in the sense that you need to drop some topics during the meeting. But this isn't
It may happen.
still a bad preparation for the meeting. I mean, why, when we said like, why do we put multiple topics and during the meeting we drop one of them? What do you think about this? Who wants to?
May I answer?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Hey,
So
don't raise the hand. You can.
I wanted to jump in and to get
Yeah,
the answer. Okay, now what was the question? So it's
So my
say,
question. So
yeah, I got it. It was a joke. So it's does it mean that you are not well prepared if you drop some subjects? Yeah. So
Mhm.
the idea is to actually be in communication and to acknowledge, yeah, when you actually make a choice and you say, okay, we got here together to discuss these topics, I realize it's not possible to do it, yeah. So let's just discuss this topic, or let's continue with this conversation as I see it's important to you. As a manager, for example, when you have a meeting with your team and you actually see that your team needs something else than the agenda that you brought, you make a choice in that moment, yeah? And you say, guys, I see this is what you need. I know I came with this agenda. I will put my agenda aside. We will discuss it another time. So we discuss this, yeah? So it depends the role that you are coming from. It depends on the deadline. There are many factors. Does that mean that you're not well prepared? Means that you made a choice in that moment, as the reality, the circumstances are different, yeah? And yeah, but this comes from, it's great what I say, yeah, it's perfect. Let's say, I'm chill, I look, but then if you have a deadline or something, you want to interrupt people, you are already frustrated, yeah? Like from my experience, oh, they don't care about my agenda, they want to talk about their stuff. And then it's actually to be, when you're interrupting, is to be clear of what are your intentions when you do that, yeah? If you want to blame them or something, they won't be enrolled in your topic, yeah? When you're like, as I say, I want this meeting to work, yeah? It's okay what you are discussing, it's fine, let's do it another time. Like my intention is, let's make this work for everybody.
Got it.
Not, I need this and you don't want it, yeah.
Now I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
So what I heard is more or less is to actually acknowledge when you are skipping a topic, and also what I also heard is to have an agreement, right? It's besides acknowledgement, is also getting the agreement from the others that you are not going to touch that point, right? Right. So very good. So when we do prepare the agenda, right? We have these objectives, we put topics, we perhaps put too many, or too less, I don't know. But what happens if the conversation goes around, or you have more time for some topic and so on? So do you put, like, there is room in the agenda for breakdowns, or things that don't go well, like, let's say, like at the beginning, there is like a malfunction if you are like in a room, you are getting the virtual room, let's say online, and no people are having problems connecting, or if you are in person, the meeting room is not filled, it's not empty when you need to be empty. So how do you prepare for breakdowns? How do you put like breakdowns time in your agenda usually?
So sometimes you cannot prepare because you don't know what might happen, yeah? So you learn from breakdowns, yeah? And you that is why I was saying the flexibility, yeah? You learn that if there is a technical problem, your meeting is half an hour and 10 minutes people are not in it. You're like, okay, I have 20 minutes. Let me reorganize. Yeah, it can be on the spot. Once you have this training and this flexibility, you don't need to prepare for the breakdown. You can just look, what can I do in this moment? This happened. What can I do now? A way to prepare is if, let's say, people usually are late 5 minutes. Yeah. Either you deal with those people that are late and you make sure they come on time. You have some choices if you are the one creating the meeting. Yeah. To make sure that they come on time and to request them that, or you will start 5 minutes late. Yeah. Like, for example, when I lead a workshop or something, we have like 5-10 minutes before until people join. So you can prepare, but usually we are not good with estimating. We say this topic will take 10 minutes. Well, it might take 5 or it might take 15. Yeah.
So you still have to be flexible. This is what I'm having, and in this flexibility also includes some time for readjusting, more or less. All right. So now it's during the meeting.
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, Marius. I want to point something else before the meeting. So okay, we prepared, we engaged the people coming to the meeting, okay. But I would also think about with what state of mind do I enter the meeting? Yeah, because I did everything, okay, still at an estimation, but it's something that I'm comfortable with. Okay. However, how do I enter emotionally in that meeting? Is this important? It's something that I see lately, like with what ideas I start a meeting, and it usually influences my energy, my ability to stay connected to people, to follow their ideas, to be in connection with them. Okay, even if I'm tired, or even if it's because everybody, we start in the morning, they end in the evening, but still it is a matter of with what mindset or with what state of mind actually do I enter the meeting. And I'm not sure if it happens to you, if you work with this, but I noticed lately that this comes with some power for me.
So it's very interesting what you're saying. I'm going to redirect the answer to this question to Andra. So I think for the audience, right, the question is, you're going to the meeting like from the technical perspective, prepare, right? You have an agenda, you made sure that people are prepared, you have the time slots, you have the meeting place. But now it's also at the mental level, right? How do you prepare mentally for that one, right? Because sometimes you might end up meeting with people that, let's say, you are not very fond of them, or they are customers, or you perceive them as being difficult or being
You have a history.
You have a history, right? So this is actually a very interesting question. I think we will touch it also in another episode, because I think it's really interesting topic. But Andra, can you give us some insights about this?
Yes, so it's part of what you said, is how do you actually see those people, in which boxes do you have them, each of them. If you think they are willing to work, you're excited. Yeah, it's not only mental, it's emotional, to go back. Yeah, mental is what you think, and emotional is how you feel. You might be excited, energized. Yes. So if your thoughts somehow are, I love these people, I'm looking forward to be with them, there is nothing there. And you might not even be aware of these thoughts. This is the trick. Yeah. Because you go in a meeting and you're not aware of, oh, I think this is not going to work. Because it's not a thought that is present and pops out of it, but sometimes it pops as an emotion. You're a bit like, there is something that I don't like about this, but you're not aware why. It's actually because you think those people won't support you with fulfilling in the
Contribute.
outcome. They have no answer. There is a train of thoughts like this. You don't trust them. They are in a box that you don't like. Yes. And that
Mhm.
causes your being in the meeting is you are just going to stay there and get proofs. You won't be present if you go like this. You won't be present and you will prove to yourself actually that the meeting did not work. I knew that they don't want to do this. Is if you go with your mindset like they don't want to participate, the
Mhm.
way you are being in the meeting will show that you think that they don't want to participate, and everything will go like this. So it's great what we touch on, and it's a bigger topic like this coming from coaching, is to how to reflect on yourself, and is you want that outcome, but actually you are sabotaging yourself thinking it's not
Mhm.
going to work. So this is a bigger topic, but it's something that you can work with you. Like, okay, to put it
So,
short now.
do you
How do
have
I
like
feel? What are my thoughts
Mhm.
about it? How is my feeling about it? Yeah.
how do you so there are any particular tips that you can give here? Because we touch like how it's going to fail in the end, but what some particular tips or something that you can do before the meeting to,
Yeah,
let's say,
take a few moments with yourself and look at what are the thoughts that observe them.
Mhm.
Like to be aware that, oh my God, I think this meeting is not going to work. Yeah.
Mhm.
So why do I think that? Is that really actually is the truth, or it's just my opinion? Yeah, you can, there is a set of questions that you can ask yourself. It's different for each, but you can spend some time with yourself and ask how do I feel? Why am I nervous? Why do I think this is not going to work? And then you will see what you think about them, what you think is missing to be prepared for the meeting. Yeah, this is the
So
first
it's a
one that comes into my mind.
I would add just a second.
Go ahead.
I would add something like, or
Mhm.
at least what I do before the meeting. I tend to plan or to project how the meeting will go, and what I ask for myself from myself. I mean, how do I want to be?
Mhm.
How do I want it to happen? And try to lead myself into that state of being present.
Mhm.
And also to ask, like, who do I want to be? What is my role here? Yeah, what is my role in the meeting?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just to go and listen. Yeah, to be clear on who do I want to be and why, because my role is this and this is what I want to get. It's not about me, Andra, as a person. It's actually about me as a manager, if that is my position in the, yeah. So what as a manager do I want to achieve, and who do I want to be as a manager? Yeah.
Got it. So
Mhm.
to summarize a bit for what I got. So before going to a meeting, it's a good time, or takes a few moments to reflect on your thoughts. What is there for you? How do you perceive the participants? Because sometimes you don't do this and you go to the meeting and you realize in the meeting that you are perceiving them like this, right? So just to be aware, reflect, to be aware of your what is there for you in regards to the people, to the outcome, right?
Mhm.
And the second thing that I heard here is like, look at where are you coming from, right? Are you a manager? Are you a BA? Are you a customer, right? So what is your role in that meeting, right? This is the second one. Come out of your role rather than right from what you perceive that person to be, and also relate to them as to their role. This is what I'm getting, right? Because if you are referring to yourself as a role, they're also a role, right? Like your
This is
BA.
another big topic.
Yes, so
We need
very
to
interesting
separate.
topic. But yeah, it's really, I think we are almost closing up. I have a
Mhm.
couple of few questions for you, but I think we should close it, right? So yeah, so do you have anything else, Christina and Andra, like you want to share about how do we prepare for a meeting?
No, I think we've touched the most important, at least the ideas that I find important. I'm sure there are others, and I'm sure people have they each see their challenges. And if we
Mm-hmm.
think, what do I do and how do I prepare? What can I do different or better? I think each of us comes with their personal touch and personal view. But I think it's great that we could surface some of the ideas that
Got it.
that are important, and looking forward to another talk to you with
Got
you
it.
guys.
Got it. Andra, for you?
Something that I want to add in what you said, to reflect before the meeting. Like, the invitation is not always to reflect when you go in a meeting. It's to reflect when you are leading the meeting and it's something especially important to you, and to do it even if you have you're excited about it. Yeah, to look a bit what your expectations are that you might not get out of it. Yeah, then you will be disappointed. So the invitation is reflect before when it's important to you, no matter if you are a participant. If it's a meeting that you expect something and you smell that it's important to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we touched, as Christina said, on many different topics, and this is an opening for many other topics, and was great being with both of you.
Thank you. So I want to just add, you ladies, thank you for being today and giving us great insights in how to prepare for a meeting. Today we went through a lot of things. So I would say perhaps we should touch in the future more pragmatic if you want. This is the question for you, audience. So if you want to touch a specific topic, or how do you look at the time management, or how do you prepare mentally, let's say, for the meeting, how do you look at the objectives and make it real into the meeting? These are interesting topics. So let us know if you have a specific request to us, and don't forget to subscribe and to be up to for you to be up to date to our content. And thank you for watching, and thank you, Andra, and thank you, Christina, for a wonderful contribution today to us. See you
Thank you,
next
Thank
time,
you.
guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Marius, for facilitating. Thank you. Bye. Bye.